Hey guys, this is Blake from Blake's Sanctum, retro site for retro games. Subscribe.
Welcome to another big episode in my special website and video series on how to play classic civilization genre games like Colonization, Master of Magic, Test of Time, Alpha Centauri, Call to Power, and of course the Civ series itself in HD, using either special versions, tricks, or mods. I'll also be doing bonus videos in this series touring some of the awesome fan games and my favourite scenarios and mods for all these games, as well as my own personal mods, while also trying to sneakily play as the barbarians via hacks or cheats. Check out the playlist link up top or in the video description and comments below to see the other episodes. Hey guys, today I am bringing you a video that is going to be part of a series of videos showing you how to play some of the brilliant classic turn-based strategy games from Microprose, such as Colonization, Civilization, and Master of Magic. And I'm going to show you how to play them in HD, and in the case of Master of Magic it's with a fan remake, but in the case of Civ and Colonization it is through official releases that many people may not know about, because like so many, I grew up playing Colonization and Civ via the DOS versions, which were like 320 times 200 or so, or 240. And what many people may not be aware is that these games were re-released by Microprose for Windows 3.1 / Windows 95. It was sort of around that era. And because everyone had heaps of like CRT screens and LCDs were still a long way away, people were rocking all kinds of crazy resolutions. So much like a lot of Windows apps, these games were made to be very scalable, so you can play them in nice HD resolutions on modern screens. It just takes a little bit of doing to get them working, because these are 16-bit applications that will not run on modern 64-bit Windows operating systems. So what I've done is I've created a Windows XP virtual machine via a program called VirtualBox. There are many virtual machine programs out there, so you may wish to use a different one, but I quite like VirtualBox. And so this video is, if you haven't worked it out already, is Colonization. Good old Colonization. I have spent I used to spend years playing this game, so many games, again and again. There was a period where I liked it even more than Civ, because I just loved the depth, and I loved things to do with the colonial era. And you know, this game was actually quite educational. It taught me a lot about the American Revolution and all that kind of stuff, and it was a really great game. Like all of Sid Meier's games, they're just brilliant. So that's why I'm making this video, where firstly I'm going to talk a bit more about Colonization and its presence today, its official Civ 4 Colonization sequel, games out there that are similar to Colonization, some of the cool Colonization related fan games, and Colonization fan mods for Civ games, and also talk about my attempts to play as the natives. Then I'll start a new game and show you guys how good classic Colonization looks in HD, and then finally I'll load up some late save games to really show off how cool everything looks, and I'll talk more about how I got the game working in HD. So if you want to skip ahead to any of these parts, then I'll be putting time skip links in the video description below. Make sure you check out the playlist link down there too to see other cool Colonization and Civ related content covered in this video series. Officially there have been two Colonization games made. There's this original Colonization, which had a DOS version and a Windows version, and then there was the sequel / remake, Civ 4 Colonization, done in the mid to late 2000s, which, you know, a lot of the original fans weren't overly happy with. However, thankfully there's a lot of great mods out there that mod it to play more like the classic games, and some massively expanded even further with more nations, buildings, trade goods, job types, military units, overseas harbours, and better graphics. So I'll do a separate video at some point covering the sequel and some of its cool total conversion mods. But yeah, sadly, even this sequel is old now, so these days Colonization is almost a long forgotten series, but thankfully it lives on due to its dedicated fans, including me, as over the last year I've created a colonization Facebook group, a Reddit group, and a Discord group, as I couldn't believe this great old series has no presence on social media, so feel free to join these groups as I'll stick links to them in the video description. As for those dedicated fan creations, people may not know that there's some awesome fan games out there, such as the FreeCol project, and that's kind of cool in that they've used the sort of Civ 2 isometric kind of graphics, and that one, it feels like a great in-between game of eras, you know, because the jump from original colonization to the 2000s 3D Civ 4 colonization is just it doesn't feel like it's even the same game practically. So this fan one feels like a great in-between, and it's got some great features that regular colonization doesn't have, such as like a huge selection of custom maps, including Australia and Africa and just almost every part of the world you can think of. There's more players, like it comes with 8 playable European nations. Modders have extended that to 12. There's even one being worked on right now to make it 18 different nations, and it supports multiplayer, so you know, you could have some crazy games with huge amounts of players on huge maps, as it supports way bigger maps than classic colonization. So I cannot recommend it enough. And it's still being worked on, even now, been worked on for about 15 years, and I'm going to do a video of that. I'll put a link to it up the top there, just like I have with the other things I've mentioned, and it'll be on the end card as well. So I strongly suggest you check it out and give them feedback and help them out. And another awesome fan game that only came out recently and deserves way more attention than it's been getting is Treasure Fleet. Now this one looks even more like the missing Civ 2 isometric era of colonization game that we never got, as it looks and plays very similar to colonization. However, the developers put in a number of different mechanics into the game to make it a different and unique experience to regular colonization. It's very cheap on Steam, so make sure you check it out and give them your support. I'll definitely be doing a separate big tour video of this one in the near future too. And I'll probably also do a video of another awesome recent find, FreeMars, a fan game that combines colonization with those good old civilization Mars scenarios. And it basically really is Sid Meier's Colonization, but just on Mars. I mean, everything else is practically the same. It's really cool and I've enjoyed playing it, so I'll probably cover that later as well. The other area where fans have done some really cool stuff is colonization-themed total conversion mods for civilization games. There's a few cool ones for Civ 2, my favourite probably being Ivan's Colonization The Age of Discovery scenario, where you get the whole world to colonize. Civ 3 actually came with an official Firaxis Age of Discovery scenario, and then fans took it even further with some really awesome total conversion scenarios, my favourites being Imperator 1961's Age of Colonization scenario, and GRM 7584's Colonize scenario. Some of these even allow you to play as the natives, which would be pretty cool. And like I said earlier, there's fan mods for Civilization 4 Colonization, and no doubt fans will continue creating colonization content for the newer Civ games too. So I plan to do many videos in the years to come covering all this great stuff. And if all that isn't enough, then there's some great games out there that are quite similar to colonization, such as Voyages of Discovery, Conquest of the New World, multiple games across the Anno series, the Imperialism series, the Port Royale series, and even Age of Empires 3 reminds me a lot of colonization, so there's plenty of great stuff out there for Col fans still. And finally, before I get things started with the main reasons for why I'm making this video, I wanted to quickly mention that I've been doing a special bonus video series where I'm trying to play as the barbarians in each civilization game using either hacks or cheats to take control of them. And I wanted to see if I could take control of the natives in Colonization 2 for a fun and crazy alternative experience. I've seen people posting about the possibility over the years, so I put the call out, and it's led to us sort of getting control of them using hacks. However, some pretty bad bugs have occurred preventing proper gameplay. I'll go into more detail in a separate bonus episode about this, so if more breakthroughs come in the future, I'll cover it in that video. But anyway, let's get on with the main part of this video, playing classic colonization in HD. What I'll do is I'll start a new game, show you a bit, and then I'll load a save game so I can really show off how improved the graphics are. So we'll go start a new game in America, and well, it doesn't really matter what we set it to there. We'll go with England, and Lake. Hit OK. The age of expansion coincided with a period of religious strife in England. The Church of England theoretically, but actually, in fact, I don't need to read all this. Most people watching this video are going to be colonisation fans, so you probably know what this says, and if you don't, we can always pause it. Click. To reflect the greater... So that's the English bonus. And the year of our Lord 49 audits for the King of England. For the greater glory of England, we dub thee Viceroy of the New World. Go and explore this new land, settle it, and bring wealth and glory to yourself and our nation. Now, this is the point where I'll also bring up that many people might think when looking at this that it is simply the DOS, like cutscenes like this, beautiful images like this, might just be simply the DOS ones stretched, but they're not. These are actually higher resolution than the ones we saw in the DOS ones. Not just display, but actually drawn in higher resolution. So I don't know whether they redrew them or whether they got the original source files when they did this re-release, but you'll notice the graphics is actually better for a lot of things. So we'll click, including this. Now, you know, to the untrained eye, you might think this is exactly the same as the DOS version, but it's not. All these things are upscaled. If you look at the people, you'll see that there's more detail on them. If you look at the water, there are waves. They weren't there before. If you look at the ship, there are more details. The ropes and stuff, and then if you start looking at the buildings, they've actually definitely either repainted or grabbed original source images that they used to create the old VGA DOS version. So that's a nice little thing that I like about this Windows one. It's not just superior in that it allows higher resolutions, but it actually has higher quality images for its cutscenes and sequences. Now, there is some drawbacks though. You know, with all the good stuff comes a couple of drawbacks, and that is that this version, you lose on the map, you lose some animation, like rivers don't flow and shoreline waves don't crash. But you know, it's such a minor thing to miss out on that it's not really a big deal. The music is much upgraded. You've got CD quality music. However, it can be a little tricky to get it working, especially for a virtual machine. I found that it doesn't seem to pick up the music off the CD properly, but I'll fix that when editing the video so you guys don't miss out. But yeah, it's I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It is apparently, people say that it can be quite unstable, the Windows version, even after you've patched it, but personally I've never experienced any crashes or problems with it, and quite frankly, if it does crash, it's not really going to be a big deal because, you know, it's a virtual machine. What's it going to do? Take out the virtual machine? You can be back in the game in a matter of seconds. So here we go. The game has started, and look at all the world we can see. Now, I should also point out, very important, and I'll demonstrate it with my save game, that I'm playing this on a massive 46-inch screen. So, you know, obviously if you're watching this on a much smaller screen, you're going to go, that's way too small. But that's okay. There are two ways you can adjust it. The game has its own zoom controls, and you can use the shortcut Z and X to play around with that. So you can get in a bit closer and get to more of a, like it was when you were playing it in the good old VGA version. Discovery of the New World. New England, make landfall, and or if you can put it back to how you want it, and of course you can zoom even further out if you want. Although that's an interesting graphical glitch actually I've noticed with this version too. If you zoom out too far, weird stuff starts to happen. But anyway, so we'll go here. Yeah, there's like a bay here. Oh yeah, let's just try here. Oh, great. Great, we really picked a good island, didn't we? That's right, this is not a serious game. Have a look around. Oh, I know where we've started. We're, yep, I know where we are. Yeah, that's fine. Make a city, Jamestown. See, these are all high resolution. Nice stuff. And look at the city screen. It's even at HD, it's actually quite big, because they've upscaled it, and it looks nice. In fact, it may even be more than upscaled. They may have actually redrawn this stuff too. It's quite sharp and nice. Looks good. But of course, functionally, it's exactly the same as the DOS version. And yeah, there's much more. I may as well load my save game and show you some stuff. Yep, let's do that. So we'll load. Game in progress. Load anyway. Yes. And yeah. Let's go for one of my 90s games. So this was a game that sorry, it was not 90s. I actually played this in the 2000s, and I had big plans of terraforming the whole continent, but I ended up abandoning the gaming, and I decided to come back to it this year in 2018 and actually finish the game, which was quite fun. And so as you can see, we can now see much more of the map, and you can see now, if you're on a small screen, this is going to look pretty bad, but on a big screen, this looks epic. I mean, tactically, it's brilliant, because this game can get annoying when there's a lot of Indian units and stuff, and you end up turning off enemy movements just to shut up all the annoying stuff. And so this is very handy to see a full tactical view, so you can still keep an eye out for sneak attacks and things. But you can zoom in to a bigger resolution if you prefer that, although the game's internal scaling is not that nice. So if you don't like it, what you can do is change the resolution of your virtual machine and then just stretch it out across the screen, and that might allow for a nicer stretched blown up graphics. So you can customize it how you want it, guys, but I'm leaving it on default 1:1 just to show how it looks without any kind of zooming or stretching, and it looks great on a big screen. It's pretty crazy to play this game that I used to play in VGA, giant pixels. And you can buy this game on Steam, I think on GOG as well, and of course they're just selling the DOS version. They don't sell the Windows one, probably because it's in the too hard basket to get working, because they generally don't sell Windows games through virtual machines. It's just not really done by official sites, so of course it's something us fans have got to do ourselves, basically, sadly. But it's not hard. You just set up a VirtualBox machine, and you can slap XP on there, or if you want you can do Windows 95 or Windows 98, but I think it actually runs better and more stable on the XP version, funnily enough. And if you don't have an XP CD, well, then you might be a bit stuck, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Google is your friend, let me put it that way, if you want to set up your own kind of machine in the way you want it to be. So let's show off some stuff. Let me see. So we've got Religious Advisor, and that's all. I think these are possibly also upscaled images. It's hard to tell. They don't look too blocky, so I'd say they are actually higher quality images than used in the DOS version. Otherwise we'd be seeing stretched blockiness if they'd simply grabbed the DOS ones. Labour Advisor, it's all looking pretty good. Economic Advisor, some resources, Colony Advisor, Sons of Liberty. So I wasn't quite where I wanted to be yet, so why don't we load load anyway. At the moment I declared independence, so this is now from when I'd progressed the game this year. I'd established a few more colonies because I wanted to start getting some cotton going and some silver stuff going, and I was forced to declare earlier than I would have liked, because the Dutch were about to declare independence, so I had to intervene and do my own declaration and start the war off a bit earlier than planned. But now that should result in a bit more interesting stuff going on. Like if I go to Colony Advisor, yeah, look at that, much more military going on. And as you can see, everything's ready to go with the people. They're all rebels. And Foreign Affairs, they gave up back when I was playing it in the 2000s. I'm at peace with everyone. And Indians, they were sadly wiped out by one of the AIs back in the 2000s when I originally played this game. I always liked to arm the Indians and make them strong, and then use them kind of like as a mercenary force against the other European AIs. It's always very fun. And yeah, it's all pretty good here. So I can declare independence. Once again, I reckon this is higher resolution, higher detail, looks good. course they land and all trouble happens. But so yeah, so last of all, I'll load up my very last save, my victory save, right before, as you can see, I'm now, while fighting the war against the English as Free America, I finished developing the rest of my colonies pretty much, and they're all looking pretty good, and I was building a road system so I could trade with the natives better, and the Dutch were looking very good. They pretty much smashed all the other players, AI players, and bullied the Indians a fair bit too, but yeah. I mean, look at that, isn't that incredible? You can pretty much see the entire width of the map and America in your screen. It's brilliant for tactical stuff. It's brilliant, and on a big screen, it just works. But yeah, I think at this point I'd kicked everyone's ass and was ready to finish the game. So let's end the turn and see what happens, shall we? You bastards. But they gave up anyway. I do accept your surrender. Good of you to sink my ship at the last moment, though. So I'd let you go on your way. There you go. So even this video, I reckon, is also being redone. So yeah, if you guys want to play the good old Colonization 1 in HD, then that's how you do it, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to have an even bigger extended colonization experience, then like I said earlier, I strongly suggest you check out the fan remake, spin-off, sequel, whatever you want to call it, FreeCol, because they add so much cool stuff. Like, you can play on an American map that's about 3 times the size of the American map you just saw there in the original Colonization. You can add 4 more AIs, and European AIs, like they've got the Russians, the Swedish, yeah, I can't remember the other 2, but they've added more adversaries, and the Indians, you can increase the amount that they're spread across the land. Trading's greatly expanded with them. And like, you can see what they want without having to, speak to the chief to know. So it really helps with trading. And you can, there's a great fan community making maps. You can get like a Super Earth map, which is just the largest map imaginable. Like, games would be ridiculous on that one. Cover it with Indians, have multiple, have up to 8 European nations. It'd be a fun game. Although I've already requested on the forums to add another 4 colonizing, because I thought of some of the others that had done some things over the years, like the Germans and the Italians and Norway, and there was someone else I'm forgetting as well. Because if you're going to have world maps, and interestingly, FreeCol comes with an Australian map with Pacific stuff, and then a European Africa map and stuff like that. So if you're going to include all that stuff, you may as well add the rest of the colonizing nations, and then you could have 12 players, which would be epic. So if you ever want to have a super colonization game, then I strongly suggest you check out FreeCol. I'm going to do a video showing you all the good stuff. So I've already probably put a link to that above this video, but I'll also put it on the end card. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. And feel free to check out some of my other videos in this series, where I show you how to play Civilization and Master of Magic, and even games that came after it, like Test of Time, Alpha Centauri, and Call to Power in HD. And I also play some cool scenarios and try to play as many games as I can as the Barbarians. So if you liked this video, then feel free to go check all that stuff out too in the playlist I'll be linking to in the video description. That's, I think, as the message says, that's all. See ya.